the U.S. Mint is custodian of the United States gold reserves, and who knows? Maybe it could have been a sly, underhanded way of forking over the entire United States gold reserves at the stroke of a pen, but that didn't pass. But
well, from what I understand, actually, the Federal Reserve already lists on their balance sheets U.S. gold because of the supposed $9 trillion that we owe them for printing money for us.
Yeah. That's probably so. I'm not an expert on that aspect, but I believe it.
My question to you there would be more as someone who understands the value of whether it be coins and also the idea of precious metals, just from that perspective.
Right. Well, yeah, I've always liked the idea of intrinsic value in coin and in currency. In other words, that it has a value beyond the paper, like the gold and silver. So I like to make coins that are that way. And of course, I don't make anything plated. When I make something that's 1 troy ounce of silver, that's what it is. I mean, I'm very clear up front about what all the specifics of the coin, that the diameter, the weight, the exact metallic content and everything, whereas some of these other people aren't. So some of these other mints that sell a lot of stuff on TV or whatever aren't quite so forthcoming with the specifications. But I definitely want to be accurate on that sort of thing.
All right. So you said you would advise that people keep something, some sort of hard value.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to give investment advice, but
no. But I'm just
yeah.
Like I said, I guess there is the idea of investments, but there's also, as someone who understands coin collecting and also what retains value, would you say those retain their value more than anything else?
Yeah, I think if you take the old saying, it's pretty true that a gold coin, what it could buy in 1900, it can buy the same thing today, but the same coin. I mean, it could buy the same item of the same quality, manufactured, whatever. Whereas the value of paper money, of course, has diminished considerably over time, and will probably continue to do so with the current monetary scheme that we have. Inflation is a necessary part of the way the whole operation works, and that's going to continue. So, if you're thinking about what sort of things to invest in, I mean, right now, obviously, the U.S. economy is kind of weak with the housing downturn, and it could be credit market problems and so on. A lot of people in Asia have the money, and they're what are they going to want to spend the money on? Well, traditionally they've always liked gold and silver in Asia, especially in India and China. So I think you're going to see more of that. It was interesting, and I knew it was probably going to happen, but a couple of years ago, all of a sudden, all the Russians are becoming more wealthy, along with Chinese and Indians. The Russians started buying up a lot of their own coins. They're the rare, older, collectible coins. They buy them on, come to coin shows in the United States or get on the internet or whatever, and buying up a lot of their coins, and the value of their coins has risen up considerably. That's starting to happen with Chinese coins too. But I'm talking about the real high quality, older, and not the common or quality stuff.
Now,
good stuff.
Are these coins that actually have the gold or silver in them, or?
Oh yes, yeah, a lot of times. Not always, not necessarily always, but a lot of times they do. Yes.
Yeah, I thought you mentioned about what you could still buy. I mean, they've said take like a silver dime. You used to buy a gallon of gas, which is now worth about $3. Still buy a gallon of gas, and there was so like how an ounce of gold used to, even back in like Roman days, had the same value it does now. The equivalent of what it can buy. Back then it was like buy you a toga, a pair of sandals, and something else, and now to buy you like a suit and a pair of shoes. And
I've heard that reference to a suit. They say a 1 ounce of gold could buy you a high quality tailored suit in the 1800s, and that's still true today. I think, of course, with recent gold prices are a little bit higher, I think you get even more than more for your ounce of gold today than you could back then in a lot of ways. I can't afford to keep much of it myself. I mint these coins, but then most of the time I have to I have to sell them to pay for keep the operation going.
Of course.
What I've been doing as far as getting these coins minted is I've been doing the sculpting, and I've got this machine where computerized engraving machine where I engrave the dies myself. And the entire minting process, by far the hardest part, is sculpting and engraving a good, high-quality design. There's plenty of privately minted items out there that have been, just quickly cut with, somebody gets out a piece of steel with a magnifying glass and tries to engrave a die on there and strike something, and it's not going to come out looking really that good. But the hardest part by far of the minting operation is doing a good sculpting and design and engraving. And I've got that down really well. And now I even do the heat treating, the hardening of the steel for the dies, and the polishing and all that. The one step that I had not been doing was the actual stamping of the coins. And what I've been doing, or have been doing, is sending my dies to a place I know that has a 400-ton press, and having them stamped under my direction. I mean, I've been there when some of them have been stamped. But I've recently got a shop space and I've got my own press now. I don't have it actually up and running yet, but was over there working on it today, and might be a few weeks yet before I actually get the thing to turn over. But now I'll get that going, and I'll have the whole minting operation under one roof, so to speak. There's not very many private mints that have a really competent design and engraving, as well as the stamping of the coins. Most private mints, they kind of focus on the stamping of it. And if you go to them and say, I want to have a coin made, here's my sketch, what they'll do is they'll take that, and then they'll turn around and they'll send it off to an engraver, contract engraver somewhere, maybe even somewhere else in the country, to sculpt and engrave that. But I'll be one of the few outfits that I can really focus on doing that really well. But then I also have my own press to do my own stamping as well. So
that's amazing. You can do this all. And are you a one-man operation? Do you have other people working with you, or?
No, I'm a one man.
That's incredible.
It keeps me with this Amero thing. It's been really difficult because I've got like 22 different varieties of these Amero coins. That was probably a mistake on my part to offer so many different kinds, because there's different sizes, different metals, different finishes, and by the time you add them all up, you've got 22 different kinds. And trying to juggle the production, they keep them, I get low on one, and I got to make some, and then polish the dies to make the proofs, and then they run out of satins, and have to sandblast the dies again to make satins, and it's just it's been tricky, especially for one person to run this and process all the orders and everything. It's got me swamped right now.
As far as going from the metal stage to that, can you actually buy like a blank coin, or you have to?
Oh yeah, that's even when I get my press going, yes. If I wanted to invest in more equipment, I could get a machine that'll punch out the blanks from a sheet of metal. It'll punch out little round discs out of a sheet. But I'm not going to do that. I mean, there are places where I can have that done fairly inexpensively. And in fact, I've even talked to the supplier that supplies the gold and the silver blanks to the U.S. Mint for the U.S. Mint, American Eagle coins. I've talked to the supplier that actually supplies those blanks to the Mint, and I will. I haven't ordered any yet, but once I get my own press here, my quantities are going to be pretty small, and I can't do a whole lot at one time. But I would be able to get blanks from them or somewhere else. And there's a place in Utah where I can get the copper and the brass blanks relatively inexpensively. So
now, is that something where you need some sort of special license or contract to purchase the blanks, or anybody can actually just buy these ounces of?
These blanks, they're not. You can't buy blanks that are the same as the U.S. Mint circulation coins. However, I'm not sure. What I haven't confirmed with them is if these blanks that I can get for the silver and the gold, if they are identical to the ones used for the Gold Eagle programs. I don't know, but no, I don't think you would need a license to do that. I think they only want to deal with people that are actually minting things, though, but I don't think you need a license to buy something from them. I mean, you've got to pay the current market value of the metal plus some fabrication cost for those.
Okay, so it's not something that's worth just as a way to kind of collect the metal itself. You're actually paying above the metal price.
Oh yeah, a little bit, because there's a a small amount of fabrication that has to be done. You have to roll the metal out to a certain thickness, and then you got to punch out the blanks,
right,
and then you got to recycle the space between all the circular discs you punch out. You got metal left over in between, and you got to recover that and recycle and all that. So there's a fabrication cost for all that. And but most people who want to have silver and gold, they're not going to want to have a blank coin like that, because if it's totally blank, then the problem is when you go to resell it, how do you convince the person you're going to sell it to that it's that it really is solid gold or whatever? So that's why that's traditionally that's where mints came from in the very beginning of human history, essentially, is because it's standardizing and
it's kind of certifying that it is what we say
that it's a silver or gold of a certain size and weight, and they make the designs difficult to copy, so that if you saw one, you'd be pretty much assured that it was the real thing. So, in a sense, that's kind of what I'm doing. I do a lot of copper and brass pieces too for collectors. But taking blank pieces of gold or silver and putting a design on them that is recognizable as identifying what it is.